Make me a channel of your praise. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. And where they start true faith in you.
Hi, I'm Carolina Castorena, and this is part 2 of Visions of Inspiration. We've got an excellent, great, wonderful young man. I'm saying that because I really think he is, and I'm not, I've been talking to him. He's so full of wisdom. He's 23 years old. He looks like he's 17, but he's 23. And he has so much to give to the world. I'm so honored to have him on my show. I'd like to introduce AJ Barrera.
All right, thank you. Thank you again.
How do you say it in Spanish?
Barrera.
Barrera.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Roll the R's.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, in part 1, we shared about you growing up, having to go through a lot of difficulty with being a Catholic, and running into, the fact that, you were doing tarot cards and you were doing these things that, you're just not supposed to do.
Absolutely.
And your parents being very devoted Catholics, and it affecting them in some way or another. But the end result, my goodness, it's all God's plan and what you're supposed to do and where you're at today. And you still go to Mass and you still believe, as a Catholic. So what's the difference?
I think more so the difference of where your belief system is or where you lie at. And I think a person needs to be open-minded of what about mediumship or psychics, about being intuitive, what the whole process of intuitive really means. Because people, that's one reason why I hate being called a psychic, because it kind of has that cliche, the bad negative word. And I also use that word as a psychic or this because it's just like I found myself as building myself up to a reputation about keeping about integrity, keeping about the word. As long as you keep it real and keep it about the people, that's all that really matters, and deliver it the way it should be. My parents, I think, saw it as being more open-minded about this work because it was just overwhelming, and all of a sudden they started getting more information about me. A lot of people were getting pulled here, pulled there, about more curious about the work. And also I think that they found it was healing for them at the same time. That they got healing from their own loved ones when I did a reading, or they got healing when something was going wrong in their life or with their loved ones, and they would seek me out, or they not seek me out, but they would ask me a question or a concern. And I think that's what gave them a little bit more respect about, maybe there's something more out there. Maybe there's a little bit more out there than just the body. Maybe just there's a soul out there when we transition to the other side, basically. And that's one thing that I learned and try to do, is to give people the perspective that the soul doesn't survive, or does the soul do survive after death, basically. And that's always been the theory with a lot of people. Well, does it survive or doesn't it survive? Well, the thing is to give evidence, to give facts, to give reasons why they're coming through, and tie up the reasons why they're coming through. If you give all that information, especially on interviews and stuff, let a person know who's coming through, why they're coming through, and tying up the reasons why they're coming through in the situations, then you've done your job as a medium. But also to project out a word to a person is, in a sense, planting a grain of salt, planting the seed, if you will, and let that seed grow for other people as well.
Now, how do you see this helping them?
I think this work definitely helps a lot of people in two ways.
And that's being a mediumship.
In a medium, correct.
Yeah.
As a mediumship, I think this work definitely helps out people, because mediumship not only gives a person a healing, but also gives them a validation that there's someone out there that knows something that was very personal. There's something that's out there that there's no way a person could have known, giving evidence, their name of the person that passed away, loved ones, how they passed away, conditions, and things that will happen in their life, things that have happened after that loved one passed away. But I think it gives the person a healing, and also the advice for them to know, hey, maybe I don't have to fear death anymore. Maybe I don't have to fear this anymore or that, and maybe I can help myself understand where I stand as a person. So if a person can understand what their goals are when they seek a medium out or a psychic out, then they know that everything's going to be okay. But if a person walks into a medium, walk into their office or their home and say, I have a fear about doing this, then there's a reason, there's a benefit of doubt that they're not really going to take all the word in, basically, with the word that you give them, basically, because they're going to be shut off to what they need to hear rather than what they want to hear, basically.
That's interesting. Now, I think, and I've shared this before, and I've had help, and that's why I understand. When my dad passed away about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and he's the first person that ever was really, really close to me that passed away. And I've always thought that, I would take it. Well, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I should back up. My husband passed away almost 17 years ago. But then with my dad, I had a friend that shared. She's a medium also, and she shared with me, through him, and it was a healing. It just felt so good. It just felt like, it's okay. I didn't go into these crying, hysterical times. It was just a type of a different thing. Versus my husband. My husband, it was like, to me, it was more like he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it was different. And there was times that I felt bad. It was the times that, I thought, okay, well, I'm never going to see him again. But then the experience I had with my dad was, he's there for me, and that was different.
Well, I think the fact of dealing with that is just almost as, I don't think some of us really detach ourselves from death sometimes, or from the person's issues, you know what I mean? I think that a lot of us kind of understand that a loved one passed away, saying, okay, I understand that my husband, or I understand that my father passed away, but we never detach ourselves fully to go through the grieving process.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what the hardest part about doing this work sometimes, because I take on emotions of what a person is feeling when I read for them, and I take on...
do?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh, no problem. So I take on the emotions of a person. So a person is feeling anxious or depressed or that, I feel that energy or emotion off them. And that's one thing about doing this work. You're very sensitive about doing this work, so you have to be careful about opening up the doors and what you're letting in and who you're inviting in, but also what energy you're using as well at the same time.
Wow.
So.
Wow. So have you ever felt like when somebody was crying, you cried too?
Oh, absolutely. I mean...
Sorry.
No problem. There's been a couple times on radio where I'm giving a reading to a person, and I can feel the emotions in me, and I have to hold myself back, say, okay, don't pull back, don't pull back, don't pull back. You know what I mean? Like, don't give me, this feeling. And you can actually hear my voice when I'm talking to caller. You can actually hear it, and the lady's crying or the guy's crying, and I can feel it because the emotions off the person. It's depressing sometimes.
Wow.
So I have to understand that everything's going to be okay for them.
Wow, what's wrong with this coffee here? What are you doing to me? So, when you started doing it on the radio, okay, you've gone to a lot of different places on the radio. Can you share some of the different places and different things that you've done?
Most of the stuff I've done was, I do all the radio shows all over the place, like all over the United States, but most of them are based out of my home over the telephone or something. So I've done, here in LA, I've done Coast 103.5, which was Angels in Waiting. Yeah. I've done K-Big, which was radio medium that they had on. I done Fox News Radio out in Georgia, done some radio shows.
In Georgia?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
all the way down there?
Yeah. So
Wow.
I do all these different radio shows all over the place. I've done Connecticut, a morning show out there, Hay House Radio, which is a national showing, which is for Hay House, which is one of the biggest book company, but also radio show, internet radio show out there for psychics and mediums as well. So for me to be honored to come on that show, I felt like I made it somewhere. I made it somewhere as a medium because, some of these top notches on there, John Holland, Sylvia Brown, all these people up on there.
Wow.
And for them to say, okay, come on here, I feel like I made a place somewhere, and I finally made an impact on people where actually other people saw the impact that I made onto them as well.
Yeah, and they can't see how young you are.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, it's hilarious because when I used to do in-person sessions, or when I rarely do in-person sessions, but when they come to my house or they come for the reading, and they go, oh, can I speak with AJ? I go, yeah, hold on one second, let me go get him. So I walk away from the door and I come back. Oh, nice to meet you. And I introduce them basically. Because a lot of people don't know what I look like, and a lot before I even had a website, they only would call on the phone line or email. That's all I had when I started doing radio. So people would come to the door and see this kid. What? I have a baby doing me a reading or something. So it was hilarious. But now that I grown a respect and also for the work that I do, but also like I mentioned, I have people that can be my own parents, teachers, grandparents and uncles that come to me that seek advice, that seek healing, and they see this kid and they come away, that they come with a word, they come walking away crying, but a happy cry, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it makes me understand that they got something out of it, they took something home with them, but also they can share that energy with another individual as well. This guy was amazing, or this reading was amazing. I tell them, don't say the medium, don't say me, because I always tell people I'm only the middleman in this work.
Yeah.
I do believe I'm just the channel that delivers the information from the divine into me, into the next person, basically. So I'm just the middleman in this work. I don't like when people say it's all about the medium, it's all about the psychic. I do believe it's about God's work. I do believe it's about being the middleman in this work and how you deliver the messages, but also why you're delivering at the same time. What's your purpose of doing this work? If you're in it, you should be in it for a long time. And that's what a lot of people tell me. A lot of people tell me you're going to be in this work for a long time, doing this work. And you're only, they used to tell me you're only 22, 23 years old. You got years to go for this. And I joke around. I go, well, I love this work, and I feel like that's the healing that I want to do for people still.
See, how's your love life doing?
What
love life?
It's there. It's kicking. Yeah. Well, it's doing good. I've been in a relationship for going on 5 years now. So it's been good, but I mean, it's just always hit and miss type of situation. I come home, work, do readings, and all of a sudden fall asleep type of situation because it's always busy. She has her own job. She has her own work, basically. So, I mean, so it's not... as everyone think it is, everyone always asks her, what is it like, dating a psychic? What is it dating?
Yeah, what is it like? I got you on here right now. What is it like?
It's pretty normal. You're not going to get to all this wishy-washy stuff, all this weird stuff. But in the beginning, to be quite honest, it was like that. Any person that I meet, guy, girl, family, friends, when they first met me, it was just like, I'd be talking to someone, or they'd be in a conversation, in the middle of a conversation. I go, hey, your dad also said such and such, or your mom said such and such, who's passed over, or your grandma saying this and that. It would happen out of the blue. So it was normal. It was odd. And there's times where I'd be talking to people where I just receive information, and all of a sudden I'd be branching, and also I'd be talking about, football, I'd be talking about a game, or talking about something I did last night, and also be giving a reading, within a minute later. So I totally branched to subject, basically. But it's normal. It's not a crazy life. I mean, I would read people at McDonald's. I can be standing in line in front of McDonald's and read the lady in front of me. I'd done that before. And the lady freaked out. But afterwards, she came back and she goes, how'd you know this? How did you know this about my dad?
I got to follow you with a microphone. Okay.
It's literally
camera.
It's literally candid camera with me. You never know what you're going to get. I'm kind of like a box of chocolates.
Don't eat too many, right?
Exactly.
Well, I would think that she, your girlfriend would think, God, does he know what I'm really saying? Does he know what I'm thinking? Oh, man, I better watch what I'm saying and thinking, because he's going to read my mind.
Before it was like that. We used to click like this, bing, 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 we'll pick up information, think what we're thinking. But now that things worn off where I try to shut myself on to her thoughts or vice versa, it's just like it's not as bad as anymore. But there's times where I get a hunch or I get a feeling, well, something's up or something's not right. I'll call her up or something's going on with her. There's just hunches that I know that, God and my guys are telling me, hey, call her up, or hey, someone needs help, or someone needs this. And there's times where I'll call my friends up, and out of the blue that I haven't talked to, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? They're like, what's wrong? How'd you know? Or it's just like something tells me, so I do move with that energy. When the energy moves me, I try to move with that energy as well. So it's not as bad as before. It's just a regular relationship, basically, if you will. So, go out, dinners, eat, family, the norm.
Oh, really? You have a normal life besides this life here?
At least I try to anyways. I mean, it's busy, but, I try to. I love what I do. I love hanging out with family and friends as much as I can. But sometimes you can't be too involved with, going out and hanging out with people, because sometimes they'll bring you down and bring your energy down at the same time. So
how do you think how does that happen? What do you mean?
Well, because, I notice with a lot of people, either they take advantage of who you are, of what you are, because of what industry. Either you're the link to connecting them with their mother or with their father, their grandfather, so they're going to use that for their own advantage. Or two, people are going to take you out, want to go out and party and drinking, and that's not my forte. That's not my thing anymore. Yeah, when I was in high school, I would love to go out and party, but now I watch myself when I go out to drink. It's just like maybe a beer or two. That's it. I know my limits. I know what I'm going to do, because the thing about this work is not about to have a good time to wishy-washy. I come from this work being about integrity. If I ever do a reading anywhere in public, I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing and not doing the wrong thing while I'm doing a reading. So the thing is, make sure not have this negative energy of people bringing you down.
What do you think the alcohol or the drugs do to people when they drink?
For people that are in this work, it's different. It's a definitely it throws them on a roller coaster, basically.
Does it?
Basically, yeah. I mean, I know some people that are, believe it or not, when I have a beer or two, it will open up my awareness like no other, open up my abilities as no other, and it's scary because it's just like, I don't know what the heck I'm opening up myself to, but I receive some information. People that go into, drugs and alcohol and stuff like that, they depend on that on as a medicine, if you will, and they rely on that. And what happens is I've seen people deteriorate. I see people go downhill. I've seen people get involved.
You've been around that, huh?
No, I've been around that, and friends around that, so I pull myself away from that. But the ironic thing is now that I see friends that are coming clean with alcohol and drugs and this and that, I see them now. Now they start coming back in my life because they know I won't touch them. I won't go near them. I won't hang out with them. And you see them come back in my life because they know they respect me. It's happy to see them. They make themselves better. They clear themselves up. Not for me, but for you and for your family. You know, and that's what I see. I like to see people that are in this work of healing to heal themselves. I want to heal people. If it's not through my mediumship, it's through words. It's through counseling. It's through this or that. So that's what I try to do.
Oh, now, when you first started feeling that you could see people, how'd that feel? Was it scary? How was it? What was the feeling?
It was ironic the way it happened. It was, I don't think I was even on radio at the time. I think it was maybe I just started on radio maybe a couple months before I started on radio. And I was sleeping, and I was living with my parents at the time, and I had a dream. I don't know what I was dreaming about, but I had a calendar that was hanging right in front of me by my closet, and I forgot what I was dreaming. But when I woke up, I remember seeing this old guy there. He had no arms, and he was an older guy. Well, Lord beholds, that was my great-grandfather, my mom's grandfather, who passed over. And I didn't meet the guy at all, but he was standing there, and I figured, what the heck? I told my mom what was happening, what was going on. And when I woke up, when I saw that image, the calendar fell off my wall, and I go, this is too creepy. That was my first real experience that I can honestly say. Yeah, that I can honestly say that's when I've experienced
And you told your mom?
Yeah, I told my mom.
And she knew who it was?
Oh, yeah, but that's her. He had no arms. He was paralyzed. I forgot from an accident. I don't know exactly what it was, but I mean, I seen pictures of him, seen his writing, wrote beautifully, calligraphy, and he wrote with his mouth or wrote with his...
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, this guy had this ability of a soul to keep the energy surviving, to keep his soul surviving. He was a strong energy, he looked like, just through pictures and letters that he wrote. Unbelievable. Really?
So what was his purpose in appearing to you?
I think for me, either for strength, either to move forward, either to the mentality to keep my energy going as a person, because I didn't know my great-grandfather at all. I didn't know any information, don't know anything, what he really did, until after I experienced it. That's when I started asking the questions. Why would he show himself to me out of everyone else? Why at this age would he show himself? So I figured there has to be a reason why, so I started researching my mom's side and my dad's side of the family.
Wow.
So that's where everything started
coming. Now, how did you research it? Do you mind?
Oh, no, I wish it was that easy. It was more so, believe it or not, internet is a great source, believe it, to find out your, genealogy, find out that. So I started researching just by talking to people, what was, grandma or great-grandma like, and start talking about them, start finding out stories and this and that, and start, I noticed that, but the strongest side of the gifts comes from my mom's side of the family, from my mom's, I think, great-great-great-grandma, the generation that comes back from that way. And also, two other mediums told me about this as well. It comes from, I think, their generation. They said they used to read coffee beans or tea leaves or something like that. I had no idea about this work, and no one really talked about it.
Did your mom know?
No, no one really knew about this information because, like I said, coming from that Catholic background, it's like taboo looking about it.
Especially back then.
So, and then I see a little bit comes from my dad's side of the family as well, where the intuitive, where you can pick up things through symbols. The symbols, it's like when you look at something, boom, you pick up information. So it balances both. But when everyone first, no one, believe it or not, no one on either side's talked about psychics or mediums and this or that. Until I went on radio and started doing radio and this and that. That's when, I'm psychic too, or I'm this and that on both sides of the family. So you see everyone come out of the woodwork saying, it comes from my side, it comes from this side as well. It comes from both sides because I think we're all intuitive, just unleashing that unlimited potential that we all have. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to handle it? Because I do think we're all intuitive. We're all gifted, quote unquote. But it's just, what are you going to do with it, basically? How are you going to use it? So,
Now, I think that for you, what has happened with you is you accepted that God has given you this gift, or whatever you would call it, and you ran with it, and you say, okay, Lord, this is what you want me to do? Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
This is what I'll do.
I mean, there was many times where I stopped doing this work, where I put it down and say, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to focus on college, or I'm going to focus on work, and focus on that. And I had road changes, basically. I had roadblocks, or I had transitions, huge transitions.
Like what?
Just things that would, like one day I was working in retail, in Whittier, Sears in retail. I was doing that and packing up boxes, cutting them all up and putting everything all away. Well, I don't know what happened, but I had this huge headache for the whole day. Well, I passed out on the boxes and fainted. And I came out from around the corner, and as dark as I am, I was really white. I was like pale.
Wow.
And I had a headache. I was dizzy. I didn't know what was going on with me. I was in a shock. And so I had someone to drop me off at my house. I couldn't drive. They wouldn't let me drive because they saw the condition I was in. They didn't know what was wrong. So someone took me home. Well, the next day I woke up. I couldn't connect with energy. I could not connect with psychic information. Could not perceive anything the way I used to.
Wow.
I didn't do readings or connect with anything for about a month. But believe it or not, I always wished it away, wished I never had it because it was such a downfall of growing up. And so I always tell people, be careful what you wish for because it will happen. But when it came back, a month later, it came back hell of a lot stronger, excuse my language, but it came back stronger than unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. And I started describing things more to a T, more specifically. And there's other things that happened was either I didn't understand what my work was about, who was I about, basically. So when I stopped, I put it aside and say, I want to focus, on my college. I want to focus on either work or this. Mm-hmm. So what happened, I would do that, and all of a sudden I would get more offers for radio shows, TV shows. A lot more clients would call me. I have a waiting list. And so afterwards I go, okay, God, what are you trying to tell me? You're telling me to go back in this? So there's been many times where that happened where I feel like God was telling me, you definitely have to move forward and help people with this work. So that's the reason why I still do this work. So
I remember asking one of the priests where I go to Mass at, I said, sometimes I wonder if this is what God really wants me to do. And he tells me, well, has he told you no? No.
Exactly.
He hasn't. Okay, well then.
It's a good way. It's a good way of putting it that way because I think we would definitely have a knowledge, a way of having God telling us to stop us, like a huge wake up sign.
Yeah.
With me, I haven't had that yet. I think my wake up sign was just for me to move forward and get my butt going again, basically, because each time I stop, something good happens or something more progressive things that happen for me. So I don't take it for granted at all. I do believe God and the light workers up there definitely make things and put connections together, so I don't take it for granted. I don't abuse it, but I understand it to the fullest that I'm supposed to help people with it.
Wow. How does it feel that you know that you're doing God's work? How does that feel to you?
It's amazing ability, amazing process to take in because I tell people I'm channeling this information, and God, in a sense, gave me this ability to help people, to see things, to heal them, to help them along this path of guidance, of whatever transition they need, depression. To take on this responsibility is huge. It's a lot of work, but also to understand that the work that he gave me, I'm using it to help people. So I don't take it for granted. I just know that I'm very honored. I don't abuse it. I don't mock around and say, hey, I'm psychic, I'm a medium at all. Because one reason I feel like, in a sense, I'm a counselor for people still in a different way, in a different aspect. Because, people still come to me and talk to me about their issues or the problems they're dealing with. Same thing with therapists or counselors. They come through with marriage problems and this and that. Same thing with me. I get that for the same kind of benefit, but more so it brings them healer. And people just want to talk to me just to talk, not to connect with any information.
Wow.
So I do feel like the words that are channeled through me at a moment or when I'm in that zone, it's channeled through God, and God's giving me this information, but also my spirit guides and loved ones are saying, yes, this person needs help, they need healing, they need to find their path. And when I do that, I definitely thank God every day.
Wow.
When I wake up in the morning, when I do any radio show, TV, anything, any kind of work, I thank God for keep blessing me.
So I keep getting this thing in my mind that I asked you earlier in the other show. Do you see anybody near me?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know.
Ask him.
Well, it's been up my head for the whole time. That's why I was waiting for you to ask me. I don't want to just go into it. Well, the first thing I definitely want to go into, and I don't know if you can validate this, but I definitely have an older gentleman that definitely passed away with either an aneurysm, embolism, something neurologically that affect their head. Does that make sense, please? So it'd be like a stroke, or if not that, it's going to be like an aneurysm, embolism, something neurologic affects their head. Or two, the person was in and out of consciousness before they passed away, because I'm seeing complete blackness here.
That was my dad.
That's your dad?
No, that was, wait a minute. It could have been my husband.
Okay, just don't tell me too much information because this is going to be, as long as you can validate, that just lets me know I can move on, basically. So if that's him, this is just his way of linking in, it's me coming through now. Is there a birthday coming up or just passing, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, whose birthday is this?
My husband.
Okay, so it'll be just your husband's way to letting you know it's him coming through then. So usually when they validate themselves, it's just a way letting you know it's me coming through. So your husband's issue, I can definitely bring it up with him. He just wants to let you know I don't have this anymore because I do feel like the shutting down feeling in my body, you know what I mean? And I had to let you know I don't have this condition anymore. It's taken away from me, all right? And I'm also supposed to bring it up with him because he's also bringing it up for me. And I don't know if this is towards August, but he's bringing up August. Is there an anniversary in August or death anniversary here?
November.
No, not his.
Death?
Yeah, not his.
No.
Go to August. If it's not that, I had to go right around the 26th.
My son.
What, is that his birthday?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm misinterpreting that. Does your husband know your son, basically?
Yeah.
Was that same father? Okay, be just as way wishing a happy birthday then. That's all it will be, wishing your sons a happy birthday.
Oh.
So let your sons know it's just a way of saying happy birthday to him as well. But also to keep him on the straight and narrow path as well. So tell him to keep moving forward on the path basically. So I don't know if your husband was the type of energy on top of things, but just to let you know, he's on top of things now for you basically. And also supposed to bring up for you, because one thing I have to lead up for you is that definitely to move your feet forward as well. Because one thing I'm seeing like the Flintstones, usually when I see feet going, it lets me know for you to keep going. So just know that your husband comes through a sense of love to you as well, basically.
Well, that's nice to know. Yeah, my husband had a lot of problems with alcohol and drugs.
Well, I mean, the situation with that, I mean, just to let you know, this whole feeling that I have here, like this sluggish feeling, he doesn't have this anymore, type of this issue anymore. So let you know, it's take it away, basically. He's absolutely doing fine on the other side, basically.
That's great. I'm glad to know that.
Oh, just know that. I mean, it's I tell people that it's like kind of like a lot better over there on the other side. It's not like down here. If a person had issues of, of alcohol or drugs or this, or a person was an amputee or this or that, they have their leg, they have their arm back on their side. Or a person was in drugs or rehab or this and that, they're a lot better over there. They learn the lessons on their side. So just know they're in good hands on their side, and they're not in pain. And when they come through out of love, basically, not through because they just want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good. That's good to know. My goodness. Wow.
Yeah, and it's an amazing process doing this work. So I said, I never know what to expect or what am I going to get, but
Or what you're going to say?
exactly, because whatever comes out just comes out the way it goes, and when I get a feeling, I just get it the way it is, and that's the way I get it. It's just almost a sensation, and I feel like it's way channeling through me. Say this, say that, basically.
1 minute. Okay. Now I'm going to have you say some words of wisdom again.
Absolutely.
They were awesome, the last one. So you got 1 minute.
All right. Basically, I would like to put out there for people that are watching, for even ourselves, I live by my life basically is do one thing every day that scares you basically. If you feel like something's going to stop you, do it anyways because you only live once basically. And also to live your life in the moment. We don't make things happen nor stop them from happening. They just happen. So move forward in our life and project out there what we want to do and how we want to handle the situation. But at the same time, it's not in our control. It's in God's hands. So just know whatever we do, we're safe basically.
Wow, AJ, you're an awesome young man.
Thank you.
I am so honored to have you on my show.
Thank you.
And I really believe that, you're just full of the love of God in your heart.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, say bye to your mom and dad.
All right. I want to say thanks for everyone for watching, and thank you for as well having me on the show, and for your open-mindedness and for your show as well of healing other people as well.
You're so welcome again. Thank you.
you.
This is Carolina Castorena, Visions of Inspiration. God bless all of you. God bless our troops, and keep praying for them. Thank you, and goodbye. Wow, that was great.
Make me a channel of your praise. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is